we acknowledge that they're digital natives, and so digital technology is very important in terms of their learning and how we actually use that in terms of our pedagogy. Design a physical space to actually have that flexibility. So what we didn't want sort of square box rooms where we had 32 students who would be sitting at desks facing the teacher. So we tried to design a space that was perhaps going to challenge traditional pedagogies. It's not about one teacher delivering information to a whole group of students. It's not about a teacher being the fountain of all knowledge, and I think that's the old model. It's about the teacher was the owner of the knowledge, and they sort of meted that information out to the students in sort of little packages for the students to sort of absorb. So really, it's about there is a place for whole class teaching, and we've got spaces that accommodate that. We've got obviously there are pedagogies that accommodate that, but there's also lots of spaces for collaborative learning. So it's about students actually learning from each other. That sort of the pairs working from each other, students working on their own, sort of in breakout spaces, students working with small groups of teachers. So if you've got students working with each other in small groups, or working on particularly sort of project-based type learning, then you've got the capacity for the teacher to work with the smaller groups. It's interesting when you talk to the students, the sort of things they like about the spaces. They like use of colour. They like the vastness of this space here. They talk about that, but I think within that the key is flexibility, and part of that comes from the bigness of the open space, because in this particular space we've got that flexibility. In the learning blocks we've got glass, but we've got the capacities to see through into those central learning spaces. And again, it's about putting furniture in those spaces that's flexible as well. We don't have computer laboratories. We're not sort of connected to wires. We're using wireless. So really, it is about that sort of anywhere, anytime learning. They have textbooks on their computers, so the students have digital texts on their laptops, which again has been a good thing in terms of reducing the weight of the bags as well as sort of carrying laptops. So the laptop certainly weighs less than the 3 books that we've actually put onto their laptops. We've looked at in terms of what do we do in terms of digital technologies, but it's an ongoing process and it's an evolving process. Again, Big Ideas is a great place for us to try some pedagogies that then we might then transfer into some of the learning that happens into some of the other areas. So we're actually having negotiated learning. We're setting up sort of 4 learning spaces for water and waste and energy and biodiversity, and students will, at the very beginning of the project, will actually have the opportunity to negotiate which of the tasks they'll do. So they'll do tasks in each of the areas, so they'll actually learn those concepts, but they'll have some level of negotiation in terms of the level of task they'll do, and that gives us an opportunity to scaffold some students. It gives us an opportunity to challenge some students. We're also going to self-pace it, so that as they finish their task in one room, they'll go to a reflective space to actually use a wiki. Actually, it's not about everyone's going to do this now and then we're all going to move to this space. It's about them having some control of their own learning. It's about them negotiating some of their learning and being challenged in their learning and being able to work their way through that. And the IT is going to be quite obviously a significant part of that. Come up with their answer to the big question. So they'll actually create a podcast answering the question, what will I leave for the next generation? It makes them think, and I think that's really important. They can't find the answer on Google. They can't go into Google and look for an I CAN project. They might get ideas from it, but they've actually got to go design it, they've got to implement it, they've got to evaluate it. Our mantra here is it's about technology for learning. So I think we've always got to, as a school, keep in mind is it's about using digital technologies to improve students' learning. We need to look in terms of future design, in terms of future use of space, actually how we actually roll that out. I mean, some of the challenges for us would be simple things like saying, making sure that yes, our wireless capacity will grow as we grow with the student numbers. But then I guess it's about looking at what are some of the other new things coming along as well.